Okay, we're about to have the first speaker on. It's a lady called Susie. She's going to be explaining how she cured her cancer. Can I put that together? Yeah, with this way.
Looking this way. I'm glad to be here. It feels really good to be here. And I've written a book. I've got some down in my bag there called Magical Healing Beliefs. Now, some people have laughed at this title. In fact, a GP said I wasn't taking cancer seriously enough. How can you write a book called Magical Healing Beliefs? Especially with a fairy on the front. I even asked them, what do you want me to put on the front? Skull and crossbones. It's not cancer that kills, it's fear that kills. And they've done a fantastic job. Frightening us to death. Absolutely frightening us to death.
And coining it in as well.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at Kingsmill. Anybody else been to Kingsmill? Yeah, yeah. Not the best of hospitals to go to, and I also discovered afterwards that their pathology department was under investigation. So doesn't really inspire confidence if you are being diagnosed with something as life-threatening, allegedly life-threatening as cancer. So yeah, it was scary, even though I kind of knew that there was something beyond it, but it's still scary. Anyway, I looked in the dictionary, because obviously people have scoffed at the word magical. And it conjures up words like extraordinary, unbelievable, unimaginable. Well, that's what my healing is and was. It was an extraordinary process of becoming healthy again, and that's my belief. Whether anyone else shares that belief is irrelevant to me, because it's about my healing, not anybody else's. And what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for somebody else, so nobody could tell me what to do. You know, even that was a strange thing when people say, oh, well, you ought to do this and you ought to do that. I'm thinking, no, because it doesn't work for me. So I accept that my healing exists with or without proof of the alleged diagnostic all clear. I'm hoping what I'm about to say will fascinate you and astound you, and I'm going to make some startling suggestions. So bear with me. I hope you keep an open mind, because as I say, my personal beliefs may not match yours. I always put this in as a disclaimer, just in case there's some trading standards officers sitting among the audience. This talk is not intended as a substitute for medical advice of doctors, and it certainly won't negate medicine. I'm hoping to show that all forms of healing have its place. I'll give you a brief background to the diagnosis, which will sound like most people's, but I won't spend too much time on it because it's a bit negative. The meat of this talk is going to be the decision I made and the radical route I took, so that's what I intend to focus on. I was 11 or 12 years old when President Nixon declared war on cancer, which I thought was kind of strange. But I know that if the cancer was inside of me, I cannot war with myself. I've seen my friends, I've seen family members, I've had family members that have died, and their body ends up looking like the terrain of the sun. And I just think, is that what I want? Well, it may be vain, but I really didn't want to go down that route. I knew that I couldn't be drugged back to health or mutilated back into health. That wasn't my route. I even said to the consultant, I'd rather go on a beach and die in dignity than let you barbarians butcher me. It's not going to happen. So that was about 5 years ago. So 5 apparently is the magic number. I think it's how long you can actually put up with their treatment before you cark it. I think that was the anyway, I haven't had any of their treatment, so I'm obviously still here. My results were ambiguous at the least, so it was even more reason to be a little suspicious of the suggested treatment route. Cancer is a dreaded word because that's the way it's been marketed, so life can appear quite bleak while being on the receiving end of this. Even if death isn't imminent, the thought of treatment is harrowing, because I've seen what people go through. My beliefs, even before the diagnosis, had always leaned towards natural healing by gently supporting and coaxing the body back into balance. Because to me, it's all about balance. So refusing the surgery and the radiation was a fairly easy decision to make. They told me they'd found a lesion, and I just said, tumour or lesion? You've got to use the right words here. I'm an educated woman. What are you talking about? A lesion. But it doesn't matter. We can get you in within 3 weeks, remove the lesion and mop up with a bit of radiotherapy. I said, over my dead body. That's not going to happen. And you're not taking the evidence away either. That I probably might not have had it. It could be scar tissue of a tumour that's been and gone. So I really don't need any intervention. So that was easy to do. However, what to do in its place took a lot more thought and painful soul searching, and research took me to a lot of dead ends. A dear friend of mine inquired as to why didn't I just give the hospital treatment a try, as a yoga teacher had, even though she advocated natural health. I tried to explain to her yoga teacher's beliefs were different to mine, and that she had faith the doctors and drugs would do it for her, and that's okay. But for me to go down that route, I would have been a complete hypocrite. I've always been into natural health, so to start then changing, why would that work for me? As I've said, I knew I could never be drugged back to health, and as I say, after talking years about natural healing, I would be a hypocrite to actually go the conventional route. For trauma and accidents, I've seen firsthand the fabulous job that doctors, nurses and ancillary staff can do, and they do appear amazing. And if I was involved in a car accident or fell in that canal or whatever, I would not hesitate to be taken to the hospital. I'm not trying to say I can do it all myself. But doctors always look for what's wrong. That's their business. They're never looking for what's right with us, and it scares the pants off us. And if they weren't looking for things what's wrong and what's right, they wouldn't have a job. You know, I've just met a friend of mine. The universe has got a strange sense of humour. I started to do Argentine tango to follow my passion of dancing, and I met a GP and someone that works at BioCity, interesting, and someone that's a neuroscientist at Nottingham University. I thought, this is interesting that I'm with these people. So the friend of mine, a GP, I said, how do you know the girl that works at BioCity? You're a GP, aren't you? Yeah, I'm a GP. Oh, but you know her? Well, I do some other things as well. Oh, that's interesting. Do you work for a pharmaceutical company as well as being a GP? Because I thought GPs were overworked. So anyway, we met to go out for dinner a couple of weeks ago, and we parked in the car park at BioCity, and he just showed me his second new car, which I found quite interesting. I'm going to have to talk about this because there isn't any. He got a brand new Aston Martin Vantage. He's a GP. Where do GPs get that money from? He's the same age as me. And he showed me I could smell all the new leather. Wow. You know, and I shared it with a friend of mine. Just, how many people suffered for him to get that car? I'm thinking, well, you know, people that choose to, I suppose. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because my ex-father-in-law used to be a GP, and he just had a Rover. He was just a normal GP from Ireland. So yeah, that was interesting. So I subscribe to a guy called Dr. Bruce Lipton, who wrote a book called The Biology of Belief, which is quite fascinating. And he always says, you're either looking towards health or you're looking towards sickness, and you can't point two directions at the same time. And what you focus on, you get more of. So if I'm focusing on cancer all the time, probably I'm going to get more cancer. But if I'm focusing on health and recovery and what's coming next, then maybe that's what's going to happen. So I think I've been programmed to be a victim. I think a lot of people are at my age, that you just hand yourself over on a platter to the authorities, be it with anything. And so that was quite when I went to Germany and they said to me, do you want to live or do you want to die? You can't ask me questions like that. I'm a cancer victim. How dare you? But that was my mentality at the time, so I was quite shocked, but it did make me think. It may seem controversial, but I believe the cancer diagnosis had a message for me, and I was not going to shoot the messenger before I had a chance to discover what the message was. And I actually said to the consultant, how did I get it? He said, nobody knows how you get cancer. And I said, well, how can you cure me if you don't know how we got it? Well, we just want to know how old you are, do you smoke, and what your bra size is. Is that it? What about my psyche? What about what brought me here? Do you think I need psychiatric help rather than surgery? And he just said, well, still nobody knows. Was I a victim of hereditary? Oh, get out of jail card for free. Does cancer run in your family? And you know what? I said, no, it doesn't. Oh, I didn't expect that. I said, no, you didn't expect that, did you? Because that should get out of jail card free. Oh, well, if your mother got it and your granddad got it, you're going to get it. But I said that I said to a friend afterwards, if I had, when I was pregnant with my daughter, if they gave you tests to show me that my daughter carried the genes and would develop cancer, obesity, arthritis, diabetes, would I have her aborted? I don't know. Would I want her to suffer like that? I don't really need to ask that anymore, because I realise that we're not a victim of our hereditary. We do have a certain blueprint, I believe, but we don't have to manifest everything that our parents had or our grandparents had. I had clients who say, oh, my granddad died of a heart attack at 50. My dad did. Guess what? Yes, you are too. Change the story. It's not your story, it's theirs. So I had believed in God. So why did he do this to me? Was it simply bad luck? You can imagine me, can't you? Sitting at home, wondering, crying, or was this my final wake-up call? But I wanted to know why it had happened beyond the biological process. Had I contributed towards it with a bad diet or even bad thoughts? Well, I've always been into health. 20 years ago, I was campaigning the government against hydrogenated vegetable fat and aspartame. Nobody seemed to want to listen because it fitted with regulations. Now they don't have hydrogenated vegetable fat in McVitie's biscuits and that kind of thing, because I think Oreo got taken to court over hydrogenated vegetable fat. So, bad diet, to me, I was psychologically at odds with someone telling me I'd got cancer because of a bad diet. No, that didn't fit either. Or had I contributed to it with bad thoughts? I wouldn't call myself a criminal or anything like that. Yeah, I've done a few dodgy things, but bad thoughts? No, I don't think it was bad thoughts as in morally. I was negative, and I believe that I fed myself a negative diet of victim and basic shit. So I knew intuitively on the day of diagnosis that my condition is reversible, and I would do whatever it took to get back into the normal flow of life, which is joyful living. I'd heard someone else going to this particular place in Germany, and at the time it made a lot of sense to me. As this subject about going to Germany has hit mainstream media recently, this was not about following a trend. Last November, I think it was Radio 5 had a story of someone spending nearly £100,000 going to Germany, and it didn't work. And I got on the radio to speak that it wasn't that. It was just someone rang me and said, you need to get on the radio, quick. They're crafty. If you're not prepared for the radio, they can whack you with a curveball. And basically all they want to know is how much it cost you to go to Germany? Where did you get the money from? Nosy bugger. What's it to you where I got the money from? That's all. They weren't focused on how to get well, whether there's a cure, am I still alive, how do I feel? They just wanted to know how much money did it cost you to just highlight the alleged plight of all these people spending tens of thousands of pounds on going to have treatment. So I felt really uncomfortable after that. I thought, I can't go on radio again unless I'm really prepared for the questions, because I'm not going to be humiliated like that again. But anyway, going to Germany was about following my heart. And yes, it cost me £8,000 for 5 weeks. I came out my mortgage. But for me, it was worth the time and the education that I received there. Compared to the time and the salary I would have lost through conventional treatment, it doesn't even compare. I could have been off years after having what they proposed, through the trauma of having my body invaded. So I just guessed that this particular protocol fitted in with my beliefs. So I guess at that time I was halfway there. Leaving the UK and the NHS system was both empowering and scary at the same time. And I say scary because I'd had biopsies, so they'd removed some of my tissue, actually without my consent, because I didn't even know what was happening. There was a part of me that had this kind of misguided loyalty to the UK and the NHS system. How could I leave the system and go to Germany? Weren't we at war with these people 70 years ago? How could I hand myself over to the alleged enemies? And it was really strange being on the aeroplane, because I just felt like I was in cloud cuckoo land, because I was on my way to Germany within 3 days of being diagnosed. The reason that I went so quickly is I can't bear pity, and there was a lot of people looking at me, especially where, oh, I think she's just been diagnosed with cancer. Don't look at me like that. It was so disempowering. People are giving you those frequencies, and I needed to get away so that I wouldn't pick up on their energy, their like negative, pitiful, disempowering energy, as well intentioned as it was. So I went to this place outside Stuttgart, and it wasn't a hospital, it was a cross between a conference centre and a health clinic. It was in the countryside, and it was very therapeutic. And of course they did ask me, do you want to live or do you want to die? That's it, in a nutshell. And I said, well, yeah, of course I wanted to live. Did I? Did I want to live? Life had been particularly harrowing up to that point, no different from anyone else's, with, you know, mess at home, dysfunctional childhoods, broken relationships, failed businesses, failed this, that and the other, you know, because we put so much emphasis on being a success that if you fail at anything, you think you are a complete failure, when it's just something that you've not excelled at. The regime that I followed in Germany was called the Budwig Protocol, and Dr. Joanna Budwig was a doctor, pharmacist and scientist working for the German government in the 1950s. And she was asked by the German government to find the link between cancer and essential fatty acids. She found it and was subsequently pushed underground as her findings threatened to highlight the dangers of a new and highly lucrative alternative to butter, which was margarine that is full of hydrogenated vegetable fat. Hydrogenated vegetable fat, the only thing it does is it prolongs the shelf life and increases profits. But for the human body, it's inert. The body doesn't know how to process it, so it's just a terrible thing to have. But she did go on to say she could heal a woman from breast cancer, but if she went back to her old life, for example, a wife beating husband, she would indeed die. And that really hit home to me, that I can do all these protocols. I can juice, I can do coffee enemas, I can bathe in bicarbonate of soda. I can do all these things, but ultimately, at the end of the day, is my heart open to the joy of life? And so, probably for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been following the protocol, which is the oil pulling, the drinking of sauerkraut juice, the flaxseed oil, and the quark mix, colonics, coffee enemas, and a bit of a mind detox as well. But this process challenged many of my beliefs, as it quickly became evident that many of my beliefs were disempowering. But to change a belief, something that I was programmed with before the age of 6, was actually quite hard. I realised, I don't think like my mother. Then I'd hear myself say things, well, that's what my mother said. Where did that come from? Or someone would point it out, that's what your dad says. No, it isn't. But I obviously didn't see it, but other people can. So I did pick up some of their beliefs, if not a lot. And then, of course, at school, you get kind of channeled into the beliefs at school and all sorts of things. Even on the radio, I can't listen to commercial radio because the jingles are so disempowering. We're morbidly looking for symptoms every day, whether you've coughed, whether you pooed or peed. It could be cancer. I mean, how insidious is that? It's constant. And there you were, you're probably preparing something for your kid's party, but you've got this kind of mindless mental chatter going on in the background of life all the time. I have Radio 3 on because it's the classical music, I think fits with my frequencies. But I knew that, like nature, repetition is the only form of permanence that I can ever achieve. So I couldn't just do things once, because of how long are you on this diet for? For as long as I live. I choose to eat healthily and mindfully. But isn't there any way that you can get off it? Well, I can if I want to, perhaps have a chip or something every now and again, or, but I have to, most of the time, repeat what gives me health. And it's got to be done for me in a joyous way. If I'm rebounding on my rebounder because I've got to keep jumping to get the lymphatic fluid, and I'm getting nervous if I miss a day, I've missed the point. I know that missing a day on my rebounder isn't going to kill me. It's the mindset that's going to kill me. It's the fear that's going to kill me. If I'm fretting about, I can't get organic food, or they told us in Germany, they said, if you can't get exactly the food that you need, don't be a Birkenstock. I translated that to be, don't be a dickhead. Just eat what's normal and natural and suits your well-being. Because I know I was reading something the other day where one of his patients was spending 4 to 5 hours a day finding the right fruit and juicing. Well, there's more to life than that, and as much as I support a healthy foundation in nutrition because it is what keeps us going, I realise that it's not my entire life. So I had to adopt a new thought process that would allow me to live healthily for the long term. And it required a lot of effort in the beginning. I felt exhausted most days, thinking, why do I have to keep changing my thinking? Why can't I just moan and groan and yell at the news and shout about MPs and all this, that and the other? But I realised that actually wasn't doing me any good, so I had to keep doing things that made me feel good, and it became natural, and it happened incrementally, and then suddenly a massive shift occurred. I think it's called the tipping point, when you just keep doing it. When I came home from Germany, it felt quite challenging back in the UK, because Germany has a completely different attitude to quite a few things. And I actually felt scared going out. But when I was preparing for this talk, I asked myself, what message am I trying to convey to you? What would you like to hear if you'd been recently diagnosed with cancer, or a loved one had been diagnosed with cancer? Well, I guess for me, I'd like to hear hope. I'd like to hear about positive expectations. I'd even like to hear that life can be great or even better after a diagnosis. That's quite radical, because we don't think like this in this country. It's all, I've got to start running, I've got to start wrapping my hair up in a turban and running and having these little pink badges on me, I've got a theory about cancer charities, but now isn't the place to do that. Another talk. But I believed, but would I believe that if I was still in a dark place? And all I can say is, Mark gave me a book 4 years ago, which was a lifesaver. And in that book, this Chinese doctor said, if you get diagnosed with cancer, use the cancer. What does he mean by use the cancer? Well, if you've had a crappy life up to this point, then use that cancer to take a step back and have a look at your life and see what you're doing. Don't use it as your identity, because I know sometimes for me, if anything went wrong, oh, don't shout at me, I'm a cancer victim. You know, and you think, no, I can't do this to myself or anybody else. You know, so once I'd taken a step back, I knew that I couldn't work for a homeless charity anymore. I found it too taxing. I know I'm an empath and I know I can help a lot of people, but sometimes I just found it too taxing. So that wasn't the job for me. And I kind of just quietly slipped away from that kind of work. So what does ignite me? Well, I don't want to be wallowing around in the negative, fighting things all the time. You know, I want to be able to give people hope. But when I was working in that charity, we had a lot of protocols and we couldn't give people hope. We couldn't tell them what they could do for themselves. We just had to like almost support them in their misery, which I found quite awful at that time. So I guess if I was still in the dark about this, I'd be hanging on to any glimmer of hope. But it's more than hanging on to hope. It's about taking incremental steps day after day, week after week, and it eventually turns into months and years, and never, ever allowing anybody to take you off track. Find a protocol, find something that works for you, and stick with it. Do your research, you know, tool yourself up with what you know works for you. And there will be some well-meaning people that are out there, oh, well, I don't think that's going to work long time. Someone even told me, because I didn't have a certain belief, that my healing would be precarious at the least. Well, that's unfair, because everybody's entitled to believe whatever they want to believe and not to be taken off track. This doesn't just apply to the physical implications of diet, nutrition and exercise. It's about exercising conscious thoughts into a disciplined state of well-being. What makes you feel good? I know that's not my only role in life, is what makes me feel good. This was hard for me because my mind can be like a monkey, jumping from one thought to another, quickly spiraling down into the what ifs and scaring myself half to death. But I believed in the concept that thoughts become things, so I had to be mindful about what I thought about. And I had to be careful as to how many times, it's not just the odd thought that's negative, it's how many times you play a disempowering thought through your monkey mind over and over and over again until it becomes a reality. I meditate, not in the conventional way, and that helps me to still my chattering monkey mind. But what else could I do in my everyday life? Was I even aware of the inner dialogue that was going on? So thoughts became things. What things did I want to see? I wanted to see health, I wanted to see wellness, I wanted to see security, and I wanted to see peace. These were the things I focus on until they become nearly natural. I acted as if I were healthy, secure and peaceful. Is this denial? No, it's not denial. I've been diagnosed with cancer, but for me to say I'm going to focus on health and I'm already healthy, that was about me taking the focus off the cancer into health. And if my mind can go there, my body eventually follows, without exception. That is natural law. I read that I needed to visualise myself coming from my dreams, goals and expectations, not to them like some unattainable pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So I had to believe that I was already healthy, that I was already well. What would somebody do that were already healthy? Well, they'd get on with their life. You know, they wouldn't be constantly touting around looking for more symptoms or having more diagnostic tests. And it's strange, when I find myself talking about my experience to people in the media, I don't know why, I can find myself getting very defensive, or at worst getting frustrated, or sometimes even hostile. They appear not to get it. Maybe they're programmed not to get it, and that's okay. I then have to back away. And then I remember this is about my beliefs and not theirs, and that's exactly how it should be. But I do hope that in 100 years, hopefully less, we'll be saying things like, we did what to women? Yeah. We amputated breasts because they got diagnosed with a tumour. We cut them off, really? And then we squashed the delicate tissue between two plates and blasted them with ionising radiation. Are we crazy? I'm glad we don't do that now, but unfortunately we still do. So, as I said, I started with nutrition, but I knew that I'd got to move on to my thoughts. And I know that nutrition is a great stabiliser, so I've knuckled down to the Budwig protocol. Even though it involves dairy, people say, oh, you shouldn't eat dairy if you've been diagnosed with breast cancer. Oh God, what else can't I eat? You have to stick to what works for you, because you can be pulled from pillar to post. And while you're being pulled from pillar to post, you're focusing on the illness and not on recovery. So I knew also while preparing this talk, I have a duty of care and responsibility to speak the truth about my experiences so far. And this is what it is, you know, this is my truth. I was diagnosed at this hospital 5 years ago, which has a poor reputation, especially where pathology is concerned. I was scared, but I was brazen. I was a bit rude at times, but I felt like I needed to be to protect myself. I think my impotence probably saved me, because that's what propelled me to go to Germany as soon as possible and get an education. It didn't fulfil all my expectations, as it wasn't Santa's magical grotto, but it did allow me to gather my thoughts and answer my own questions without distractions. I remember what Einstein said: we cannot possibly solve the problem with the same mindset that created them. So if I created my cancer, it only made sense to go to a place where there was some peace, so I could untie the knots in my mind and in my heart and get a new way of looking at my life. It took time, and still is, to reset a new thought process on almost everything. So, along with many other issues, I have asked myself, am I sticking to my own convictions, or are they someone else's? And that's quite interesting as well. I learn things all the time where I have to completely do a U-turn on what I originally thought about. That's quite humbling as well. You know, things from nuclear energy to all sorts of things. I have these like rigid thoughts, this is how it is. And then someone tells me something, and then my mind just, oh, okay, maybe that is something to look at. Maybe I can open my mind. And it is humbling. I think, oh gosh, all those years I've spent with that rigid mindset. And I think it's okay, but we don't even give politicians any chance to say, actually, I got it wrong. We come down on them like a ton of bricks. We expect people to be perfect all the time. People get it wrong, and it's okay. As I said, what do I do to make me feel happy? I don't do that much work. I write, I go skating, I dance, I walk my dog, I go and see people who need to see me. I have a small income, I don't need a fortune. I personally don't like working for people telling me what to do, that's just my personality. I love skating. My mum was very frugal, so I never had the right skates or second-hand battered old skates when I was younger. Obviously now I've got a brand new pair of Italian boots, and I go as often as I can, and when I'm on the ice I feel like I'm an angel with wings, hence the front cover of the book. Gliding around, everything fits around the people in my life, the important people in my life. I took full responsibility for some investment opportunities that came my way, because I'd always had a poverty mindset. There's never enough. The government are going to tax me, they're going to take it all off me. And I had to have a complete rethink on how I could invest my money that would work for me instead of me working for money. And my old way would have been, oh, I can't do that, it's too scary. But you know, once you've had a cancer diagnosis, not to sound glib or anything like that, you feel like nothing scares you, because you think if you can get through that, you can get through anything. Solicitors, lawyers, pants compared to doctors that try and scare you to death. So, and I know for most people when they get diagnosed, jobs and monetary issues just pale into insignificance when dealing with this cancer malady. But all the time I continued to work on my book, reading tons of research papers, opinions, books, lectures, YouTube videos. Some of the findings have actually shocked me, frightened me, or just made me plain angry. So I had to monitor how much time I spent in these negative issues, as I still am to a certain extent fragile. I'm human. But I knew while I continued focusing on outside issues like carcinogenic meat or pharmaceuticals, my inside issues remained broken. So it's up to me to fix my inside, and everything on the outside would take care of itself. But I also suggest reading both sides of treatment methods before making a decision and keeping an open mind. But always remember that loving positive thoughts and actions are more healing than dwelling on the negative for too long. After reading about all the sinister ways that some natural support protocols are being pushed underground, and that's quite scary, it's a good idea to schedule in some laughter. This lifts my mood dramatically. My choices are Peter Kay. I just get something up on YouTube, preferably the one paying the bill, when he says a good night out or goes belly up when it comes to paying the bill. That just makes me laugh over and over again. I like Morecambe and Wise, and I like any film with Will Ferrell. I don't know why, I just look at his face and I start laughing. So apart from eating healthily and doing the oil pulling and the rebounding and the bug diet, and I sometimes take supplements but not all the time. I juice because I enjoy juicing. I bath in bicarbonate of soda because I like it. I do coffee enemas because I like it. I meditate, again, because I like it. I've had one infrared scan when I saved up for it. I went to Harley Street and had an infrared scan to show me how I was doing. And they said there was a little bit of vascular activity, but nothing that would constitute surgery or radiation. But then at that point, I decided to start morbidly looking for symptoms, because if you're looking, you bet your bottom dollar you'll find something. Screening tests and scans cause me a lot of unnecessary stress. So I always look for how healthy I am. I'm looking for what's right with my body, not what's wrong with it. So how do I feel? Sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I can still be a victim, and sometimes I'm a winner. Sometimes I'm flatlining, like nothing's going on, and sometimes I'm absolutely euphoric. But how much energy do I have? Because I think it's all down to energy. Am I doing and being what I choose, or am I trying to fit in? The word selfish gets bad press, but now is the time, if you've been diagnosed with cancer, to put yourself first, as you can't please all of the people all of the time. So make one person happy, preferably yourself, and everybody else is happy around you. Well, that's what I found anyway. When I'm miserable, I see a load of miserable faces around me as well. Unfortunately, I know that it is down to me. I would like a magic pill or a magic genie, but there isn't one. So it is down to me and how I feel. And when I feel good, optimistic and hopeful, it's easy to take care of myself with nutrition, exercise and lifestyle choices. I can complicate things, but when I ask myself, does it feel good? Not is it the right choice, because right is very subjective. Right for you may not be right for me, and vice versa. So I just do all the things that make me feel good. I did a course in a therapy called Psych K. It's about testing your beliefs, and it's about testing the subconscious to see whether you carry a certain belief. Because I thought, I'm quite open-minded, I don't have any beliefs. But I still discovered that I did carry a lot of disempowering beliefs, because even at my age, with all the feminist movement, I muscle tested myself, and I still thought men to be superior to women, and I didn't think I thought that, but that's obviously a belief that was in my subconscious. So I needed to change that. I think we're equal now, but I did change that. But I've been amazed that it was a lot of my limiting beliefs and my parents' well-intentioned programming, mainly around fear, that created the cancer in me. My body would never heal while being in fear, because fear is always about protection and never about growth. Healing is about growth, and growth can be scary, but that's okay too. And cancer doesn't kill, fear does. Thank you.